Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Deanne Wegwert, and I am calling to order the meeting of the Commission on Diversity Awareness for the City of Flagstaff. It's 1:31 p.m. We'll start with roll call. I'm the chairperson. I'm here. Dan Duke.
Dan Duke has notified us he would not be able to attend today.
Very good. Thank you for letting us know. Commissioner Hardy.
I'm here.
Great. Commissioner Gebler. I'm seeing participation on my list, but Mandy Gebler. Perhaps she stepped away for a moment. Marcella Pino.
Hi, everyone. I'm here.
Thank you. Commissioner Jean Toner. Jean's not with us yet. Commissioner Christine Tucci. Okay.
Sorry, this is Mandy Gebler. For some reason, it wouldn't let me unmute myself, so I had to leave and rejoin real quick, but I'm here.
Yay. All right. And Christine Tucci, did we hear a response?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I believe that this is the first meeting of the Commission on Diversity Awareness at which we will be reading the mission statement and the land acknowledgement. And our mission statement is that we are a commission to foster support, respect, awareness, and appreciation of diversity among all citizens of Flagstaff. And the land acknowledgement reads as follows. The Flagstaff City Council and the Commission on Diversity Awareness, perhaps we should change that, humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place as home. We open it now for public comment. Do we have people who want to make public comment? Jessica, you have your hand.
Thank you. I just wanted to acknowledge that Vice Chair Toner has joined the meeting. So thank you, Commissioner Toner.
Yes, thank you. Shall I just go ahead and call on our participants, or Jessica, is there an order in which you would prefer that I do this?
No, it is your call. Generally, whoever's hand was up first, I'm not sure we can always see that. So feel free to just call.
I don't think I saw that, but
sounds good.
J. Mike Cruz is at the top of the list for me, so that's rather random. But we would like to hear what you have to say.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I am Mike Cruz. I sit on BPAC for the city. And I am here today with several announcements, actually. I'm also the president of the FUSD Anti-Racism, Anti-Bias Advisory Task Force. Advisory Committee. And we have an opening on that committee. And I wanted to bring it forth so that if any member of this group would like to be part of that, you can certainly get in touch with me. I will let Jessica know my email address for that. And then we also have an opening right now on BPAC. I know that in terms of city commissions, people can only serve on one at a time. But if anybody in this group has someone in mind that would be interested in doing some of the BPAC work, that would be wonderful. We have that commissioner spot opening as one person is leaving the commission. And then the last thing I'd like to announce, please, is that the Flagstaff Symphony Orchestra is having an auction right now for the next week or so, and you can access that information. It's an online auction. You can access that information through the Flagstaff Symphony Orchestra webpage. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate your announcements and all that information. Felicia Fiedler.
Thank you. So I would like to request to be put on the meeting for next time for discussion, but I am wanting to present on a possibility of collaborating with the Diversity Commission here. I represent the Flagstaff Public Library's Anti-Racism Committee, and so we wanted to talk about how we can like better collaborate and talk about like the best practices that we have come up with. We are working on trying to make that committee be more broad and make it more city wide. So.
All right, so you are making a request to be on the March agenda. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That way I'll be able to get actual, I think, feedback from you guys, and you guys can answer whether you guys can be a part of it and all that stuff. So
Yes, that would give us a chance to have a two-way discussion. As you know, we can't really respond to the topic right now. Jessica, is there anything to prohibit us from deciding, though, to go ahead and put that on the agenda for next time?
Let me go ahead and follow up with you, Chair Wegler, if that's okay after the meeting.
Very good. Okay. Is there anything else for public participation? Okay. The next agenda item is approval of minutes. And just looking back at the draft minutes for January 18th, 2022, I had one question, and it's just a technical question about the minutes on the second page under 7A and then 2. There are 4 bullet points, and the last one, I don't know if there's a word missing or if I'm not reading it right. But it reads Commissioner Gebler Community Asset Map asking Council to add to the city's website, and I wasn't sure what that meant.
I think today we were going to go over that community asset map that I've created and then discuss whether or not we want it added to the City of Flagstaff's website.
And that's great. I just wasn't sure if this is saying it that way.
What was the item number?
It's
again?
on the second page under 7A. Am I not looking at the right set of things here? January 18th. For some reason this isn't matching up. So, okay. Oh,
Is
there it is.
this
Okay.
here?
Yes. Commissioner Gebler, Community Asset Map.
Yeah, I believe that is what Commissioner Gebler will be discussing today.
I think I maybe just wasn't reading it properly, so.
Okay.
Anyway, other than that, I had no questions, and I'm wondering if any of the other commissioners have any questions or corrections, or if there's a move to approve.
Hi, this is Marcella, Commissioner Pino. Just a question on the approval process. Since I missed the January meeting, can I abstain from the vote? Is that the recommendation, Jessica?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
I move, this is Commissioner Toner, I move to approve the minutes as written, and
I would
I
second
second.
that. Do we have, shall we vote? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
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 And we have one abstention.
I abstain.
Anyone opposed?
Sorry, this is Claire. Sorry, I can't find my hand option. My phrase to raise my hand. Oh, there it is. Is it if I were to abstain because I wasn't in attendance at the meeting either, would that affect the vote?
I think
No, it would not.
Okay.
that it would be fine.
Okay. Then yes, I would like to abstain then as well, since I wasn't in attendance.
Fair enough. Okay.
Oh.
So we've got several people in favor and 2 abstentions. Anyone opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Thank you, everyone. Then another functional part of our agenda, date of next meeting, which is set for March 15th, 2022 at 1:30. That may fall during spring break for the university or for schools. And we probably should think about whether or not we will have a quorum. I can make that meeting. I'm going to be here. I'll be able to commit to that. But
This
just
is Commissioner Debler. I'll be able to be there.
okay,
Commissioner Toner, I'll be able to be there.
okay.
Commissioner Pino, I can be there.
So it sounds promising that we would have a quorum. And so I suggest that we keep the date in that case. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, good. Then I think we'll just keep the March 15th date and go from there. Which kind of leads us into a first action item, code of regular meeting date and time. And this has to do with the possibility of changing our regular meeting date and time. As you know, we currently meet on the 3rd Tuesday of the month at 1:30 p.m. And the possible reason to change that is to accommodate city council meetings and to make it more possible or likely that the council people would be able to join us for our meetings. Jessica, I see you have your hand up. I'm sorry, I didn't notice that.
No worries. Thank you, Chair Toners, or Chair Word. So I did add this to the agenda. I wanted to, kind of provide just maybe a little additional information for the discussion on this topic. First, and foremost, the discussion did come up about whether or not this meeting overlaps with the council meeting when it gets started. And so therefore council members, liaisons who are assigned to this commission would not be able to attend. However, we have had such strong quorum responses and have had such consistent meetings that, I also don't want to possibly negatively impact us meeting our quorum. The other, kind of another point of discussion that came up was, even if it were to change, whether or not the mayor or assigned council member would even be able to attend. That there has not been any discussion on this topic with mayor or council member liaison assigned to this commission. So those are just a few things that I wanted to, maybe mention for this discussion.
I appreciate that extra information. I think that those are really important points. Those of us who are on the commission made this commitment thinking that we could accommodate this meeting date and time. So we would need to be careful to not choose an alternative, if we choose an alternative, that some people couldn't manage to attend. And then the other consideration, as you were pointing out, is that if we choose a different date and time, it would be hard to know if that would be a better time for the city council liaison or anyone else to join us. So I'm interested in discussion from the group. Anyone have thoughts?
Hi, Chair. This is Commissioner Pino. I think I have some flexibility if there's interest in adjusting the day of the week or time if we wanted to keep it on the same day. But I'm open to whatever's best for the majority.
Thank you for letting us know that. I appreciate that. Is there anyone, Jean?
I like Marcella, I'm flexible and I'm perfectly happy to move it to any time. But I really do, since, I come from the time where we couldn't get a quorum, I really want to reinforce as we think this through Jessica's comments about how consistent we've been at this time with quorums since we've had the present commission. And I just would want to echo that I wouldn't want to do anything that disturbs that, because it's been wonderful to have full participation.
I agree with that. That makes all the difference to be able to actually get business done and move things forward. Commissioner Tucci.
Hi, so I have taken a second job since joining the commission, so I have a lot less flexibility right now. It's not impossible, but it would be difficult for me to arrange a different day. I might be able to do it earlier or later on a Tuesday, but a different day of the week might be difficult for me.
Well, that's really good to know. I appreciate that. I have to say that my inclination is not to just randomly move the meeting date and time, but rather if at a future meeting we have a request, perhaps from our city council liaison or whatever, and know what we're being asked to change to, that might be a different conversation. But to just randomly say, let's abandon third Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. and just pick something, anything else, I think would be, it might not serve us well. That's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of how to proceed with this, because there's really not anything to vote on, I don't think. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we have other things on our agenda that I think are really important today. My suggestion is that we just not do anything with this right now. And if it becomes evident that we are being asked to consider a different date and time to accommodate attendance by a city council liaison, or for some other reason, that at that point we could vote and have a discussion and vote about whether we want to make a change. Does that sound reasonable to everybody? Commissioner Hardy?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. I think that sounds very prudent. Yeah, I like that plan.
Okay. All right. So for right now, we're just going to not make a change, and of course, leave it as a possibility that we might have this discussion again at a future time, perhaps with some better sense of direction, I think. We can go on to reports and discussion items, proclamations. The proclamation work group update. Discuss any upcoming proclamations for the work group to focus on, and review the community asset map. Anyone from that group care to speak?
I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Gebler. We don't have any upcoming proclamations, not until May, so I don't think we'll be presenting that until April, in 2 months. So go ahead. I would like to turn it over to Commissioner Wegler.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gebler, are you willing
To share the map?
I believe that this would be the time. I'm looking to see if it's somewhere else on the agenda.
Okay.
I see it. Okay, I'm sorry. I get a little tangled up with that.
I'm trying to get it connected on a different computer. I'm having a little bit of trouble here. Okay, so I'm on my phone currently, but if I'm switching to the computer, do I have to log out of here first and then log back in?
I'm not sure. Jessica, do you have any advice?
I know that people have signed in twice. You just would want to make sure that your phone then is muted if you're going to switch, or one of them needs to be muted. Otherwise, we do get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to see why it's not letting me join here.
You can also always forward it to my email and I could certainly pull it up if that would be easier.
Yeah, that might work actually. Let's see. Hold on one sec.
Commissioner Gebler, while you're doing that, would it be all right if I just go ahead and let's see, perhaps ask Jessica to do updates?
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Jessica, is that all right with you? And that way we can move to something while Commissioner Gebler is getting ready.
That works for me. So
Okay.
I just wanted to provide the update from the last proclamation that was worked on, which is the Black History Month. This proclamation was read at the February 1st council meeting, and the link to that recording is included in the agenda. You can jump ahead to approximately 4 minutes into the recording and listen to that proclamation.
Very good. Thank you.
Since we are on proclamations, I did want to verify that we will have the two future proclamations that Commissioner Toner had mentioned, the mental health awareness and AAPI, both which will occur in May, and both have been confirmed for the May 3rd council agenda, and we will review those in the April meeting.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. For those of you working on proclamations, does that timeline work for you?
Yeah, that should be plenty of time to get those together.
Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else that we could talk about while we're just hanging on here for a few minutes. The next item after updates from staff liaison is recommendations to council, updates and future items. And that would be recommendations from the proclamations work group.
Right, and I just want to echo what Commissioner Gebler said. We don't have really any other updates or comments right now.
So that's fine.
Yes.
And just to have taken care of that item. Okay.
I think one of the things we might be able to talk about right now is jumping down to number 9, because I think that will be rather quick while we're waiting for the asset map to come up.
That's a good idea.
Okay, I can go ahead and just provide the update that our commission website now includes the mission statement and land acknowledgement. So I just wanted to pull that up for a quick moment here. You'll find the mission statement for CODA at the top of the page, as well as the land acknowledgement. Of course, nothing else has changed. Our meeting information, agendas, links to recordings, members, etc. Our mission statement and land acknowledgement, oh, there's a typo, have been added to our agenda template as well, which of course we saw at the beginning of this meeting. And so you'll see the two statements listed at the beginning of each regular meeting agenda.
That's great. I really appreciate it that that you, I assume it's you, keeps our website current.
Yes.
It's such a great thing to have that be current information. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jessica. It's great.
I did make a note to myself to follow up. I do believe we can update that verbiage at the beginning that you had referenced, which was to say that council and the commission on diversity awareness. I do think we have that flexibility. I don't really foresee any issues with changing that, but I listed it on my follow-up.
That's nice of you. And I know it's a small thing. Just in terms of reading it at our meetings, it makes more sense if it's, I don't think it's a bad thing if it says that it's endorsed by the city council, but probably shouldn't say that it's out. We are embracing it as well.
I agree.
Okay, I'm seeing pictures.
It's finally working. Okay, so can everybody see it?
I can see it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so this is the community asset map that I put together for Flagstaff. There are obviously more assets than this in town, but these are probably the major ones that people will have the most ability to have access to. So just some basic information is that Flagstaff is located in Coconino County. It's the 15th largest city in Arizona. And currently we have a population of about 77,590 people. So that means we're at a population density of about 1,175 people per square mile. So the area that is being covered in this map is basically all of the major portion of Flagstaff. So I didn't cover out by like Doney Park, going down towards Cottonwood, anything like that, because there's really not a whole lot of options until you get out to Williams. And even then, there's still only one agency. And if we post this too, there is an interactive map that I've made that people can click on, and it will show the categories of services that are offered. So everything that you're going to see in red is specifically related to addiction treatment and detoxification services. Everything in the turquoise color is for children and their families, and everything for green is for your seriously mentally ill folks. A lot of times these are like your crisis services, possibly people who may need residential treatment, things like that. So on each page, there is contact information, website information, a description of the agency, the services they offer, the types of treatments, any additional information like any special programs they may have, how they operate due to COVID-19, and how a person can get enrolled. There also are additional resources if anybody else, like I said, because they're not all included on here, there are some additional resources on the page that people can click on to also find out more about services that may be listed on these websites, but could possibly be potentially outside of the specific Flagstaff city area. So the first one is Arizona Children's Association. So they serve all demographics from children starting from birth and can provide continuous supports to families and children who are already within the DCS process or may be at risk for DCS involvement. So they provide services for children specifically in foster care, kinship placements, and they participate in special programs to help ensure that they are successful and to ensure that parents also can have independence. So they do outpatient services, family counseling, individual groups, peer supports, case management. They do offer some special programs for children, such as the La Familias program, where they specialize with working with child victims of sexual abuse, victims of crime act, where they provide no cost treatment for any sexual abuse victims, skills training and respite. This is really essential for kids who are possibly behind due to neglect, things like that. The respite program really provides a lot of kind of that supplementary help for children to be able to have the ability to catch up to their peers. The Meet Me Where I Am is essentially recognizing that, you know, we know that kids and families may have specific needs or be in special circumstances, and it's making sure that these parents and children are getting those needs met. They also offer psychiatric services, medications, birth to 5 services. They will do assessments for ADHD and autism, all kinds of things for foster care services, preparation workshops. They offer parent aid services, and these are the modalities which they use. Cognitive behavioral therapy, group counseling, medication management, individual therapy, play therapy. So this agency is generally focused on the child and incorporating the family into them for success. So included is their address, website, COVID-19 changes, and how to enroll in the process also. So child and family support services, again, focusing on children ages 0 to 17. Many times these families are already DCS involved. But if you have a child or know somebody who has a child that, is looking for any type of assessments for ADHD, autism spectrum disorders, anything like that, this is also a very good organization that offers a lot of support so you can actually do a self-referral or walk into them as well. FMC does outpatient. They are mostly, as we know, for drug court people. As far as like the behavioral health portion of it, they do also do individual counseling as well. But this is a service only for adolescents and adults. So they do have outpatient services, but they are limited just to that demographic of people. They do provide detox within their ER. And this also is one of the areas in town where if somebody does have a mental health crisis where they do need to be placed under a Title 36 for a 72-hour hold, FMC is a place that will do that as well. They do also offer inpatient services on a longer-term basis as well. Excuse me. So they do also offer quite a few services. And so FMC actually operates under Northern Arizona Healthcare. So any agency that works with Northern Arizona Healthcare Services will be able to communicate that information with FMC and vice versa. If you have somebody who maybe previously was on an outpatient basis, but now it's switched to, needing a crisis service, those agencies would be able to communicate with one another. NACA is a very prominent agency in Flagstaff due to the level of Indigenous folks that we have in town. They do serve anybody, but it is geared towards the Native American community. They are one of the only agencies that actually offers assistance with getting your license reinstated should you have a DUI. They offer youth services specifically for families, such as the Pathways program, 1st through 6th grade, to help at-risk children to make sure that they are engaged in a program that allows them to be successful. They do self-esteem promotion, educational enrichment, and these services are actually free for eligible families. So again, it does not have to be Native American only. Anybody is invited to enroll in their services, and they do also do outpatient services. They actually do offer intimate partner violence support, child and family team services, and they do substance abuse counseling and treatment there as well. They're different too in the sense that they do like talking circles and spiritual distress therapy, which is something that you won't really find at the other agencies in town. So it is, again, very focused on understanding, respecting, and catering to the Native and Indigenous communities of Flagstaff by offering these services. So Southwest Behavioral Health, they do offer their opioid replacement clinic. That's something that somebody does have to get a referral through by being enrolled. They actually also offer day programs for clients who are SMI, such as those who probably reside in the behavioral health group homes. They do have those. They do offer residential substance abuse too, but it is not in Flagstaff. It is in Bullhead City. So they also do DUI education, domestic violence education. They do also work with children and have a specific child team with children starting from birth. They also work with those with developmental disabilities and with the courts as needed as well, as far as probation requirements and things like that. So the information about the residential programs, they do have group homes, but again, those are something that you would have to go through Southwest to have access to, but you can always refer a person to Southwest and they can help them get enrolled in those services. So the Guidance Center also is probably the most prominent mental health agency in Flagstaff. They offer just about everything, as you can see here. They do have a 28-day residential treatment program on site. They do offer medically assisted detox for people. They also are the only other place in town that will allow for the Title 36s for somebody to have a 72-hour psychiatric hold. They do also specifically have child and family teams, seriously mentally ill, and your general mental health and substance abuse teams. They also offer a first episode of psychosis program for youth. So any younger children who may be showing early signs of psychosis starting around age 14 to 15, there's a specific program for them to help them navigate through the world of having potentially serious mental illness and have an assigned and focused case manager as well. So walk-ins are done, self-referral, third party can be done. They do take Medicaid, obviously, for them. So it's going to be a little bit harder if you have limited health insurance, but I know they take like Blue Cross Blue Shield, things like that, and they can also work on a sliding scale fee. So this one is probably going to be more of your one-stop shop, because now they are also offering medical treatments as well, basic like PCP visits and stuff on site as well. So quick reference guide at the end here. So if you have questions about, who can I go to for children and families or addiction, seriously mentally ill on an outpatient basis, it is all broken down into which organizations work with who for outpatient services, same for inpatient. If you are looking for somebody who needs or if you're looking for a place for somebody who needs inpatient, again, it's broken down into children and families, addiction, seriously mentally ill. And then note at the bottom again that Southwest Behavioral Health does provide residential services, but they do not do crisis or emergency mental health treatments. That's only the Guidance Center and FMC. It's also broken down by a map. So here's the list of each agency that provides these services. So the children and family services are all numbered with the interactive map. The addiction services, the companies that offer addiction treatment services are all listed here. And again, seriously mentally ill. And these can all be accessed by clicking the link at the very, very top with the interactive Google map. So if we want to put this on the website, I think that would be great. Because like I said, these are the main agencies that we're going to find in Flagstaff. But there is the option for people to click here and find those additional community resources as well. So this would give them the ability to click on the map, find the service that they're interested in, provide an address and everything. So that way they have an idea of where it is. And each community asset does have all this information listed too: phone number, address, contact information, website, and anything that most people are going to need if they do want to enroll in any of these agencies around town. So does anybody have any questions?
Thank you for this, Commissioner Gebler. This is wonderful. I really do second your suggestion of posting it to our website. I think that's allowed, Jessica, and I appreciate you sharing this with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is an amazing bit of work. Oh my goodness. Is it posted somewhere already?
No, actually, I haven't posted it, but I did give it to the Guidance Center. I also gave it to the Coconino County Legal Defenders and Public Defender's Office, because I know a lot of clients are in some type of mental health or substance use treatment. And so that's generally kind of the first thing, is people are like, well, where do I go? Who do I look for? So I think it might be good for people who especially are looking for any type of substance use, mental health, for us to be able to have a way to kind of give people a place that they can navigate easily and look at and find all these different resources in a way that's understandable for them. So that's kind of why I put it together, is I really wanted people to know too, is that, let me see if we control and click the link, is that we have these options available, but so many people don't know that they exist. I can't tell you how many clients I've spoken with, and I'm like, okay, we can go here, we can go to this place. And people are like, I had no idea that this company even existed in town.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that people have to end up, either at risk of being involved with DCS or, already involved with DCS to get access to these resources. That's what we hope to prevent, is by offering these services prior to that happening. So in theory, I would like to be able to have this offered to people so that way they are able to get access to services they need. And places like the Guidance Center and Southwest Behavioral Health will actually also help families apply for Medicaid if they don't have it. So there are options as to how they can get connected with medical assistance as well. If, going to DES isn't realistic for whatever reason, there are agencies that will help you apply for access as well.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to think of the order in which hands appeared. I think Commissioner Pino was next.
Thanks, Commissioner Rickert. Just to say that this is amazing. It takes a lot of time to put this together and it's super well done. I think it's super clear. The interactive map, if we put it on the website and someone's accessing their like phone through mobile, do you know if it will, like how that works with Google Maps? Does it open in the Google Maps application?
It does.
Okay.
It will actually pull up Google Maps. So let me see if I can switch what I'm sharing. Let's see. So yeah, so it actually will open up a full Google map. I'm trying to get it to open right now. And it actually is broken down into the 3 categories that it is broken down into in the asset map as well. So there we go. Now it's letting me open it. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you click on that link, this is actually what it brings you to. So like I said, it is broken up into the different areas that the actual document is broken up into. So you can click on each one and it will bring up information about the organization and show you where it is on the map is number 1. The guidance center. So it'll break it down into specific services. So, if somebody doesn't need children and family and they're just like, oh, I need a place to go to get, a drug screening and assessment, they can click on NACA and it will give them the information for NACA. So pretty much it's just a point and click and it will give them all the information too, as well as like Flagstaff Medical Center for like the ER if they are in mental health crisis, the guidance center, all that stuff. So all they have to do is click that link and it will take them to this and it'll show everything broken down by need. So you'll see that some agencies may be listed multiple times. Like for example, the guidance center is under SMI, addiction, and children and families. But that's just so that people understand that they do have options of this place for all these specific services. And they're given the option to be able to select which agency they would like based on that need.
Fantastic. I think the functionality and how easy it is to use will be really helpful. And I would love to I wonder if there's ways that we could continue to promote it with the county as well. Even though, this covers the city resources, I think there's a lot of value for promoting these resources more broadly. So maybe that's something that we could talk about, or I'm not sure. I'm guessing you already have some sort of plan of where this will go.
Yeah, I definitely think this would be probably something good to promote, especially around Mental Health Awareness Month, because this does focus on mental health services and, children and families. So I think that might be really good to promote during that time. So if we can make that possible, I think that would be great for people to not only know that, okay, yes, it is Mental Health Awareness Month, but then here are resources too for people in town who have mental health needs. I think would be really good to put these two together.
Agreed.
Felicia Fiedler has a comment.
Hi, my comment is just, I was hoping I could get a copy of this.
Yeah, if you want to give your email to Jessica, then we should be able to, I can get you a copy of it.
Thank you.
And Jessica, you had something?
Yeah, thank you. This is an incredible resource here. I am wondering if someone is looking for a resource of this type. I'm not sure that it's very intuitive to go to the commission's website to look for this type of information. We do have a community resources page on our website. I'm not sure who in the organization monitors that, but I could look it up and reach out to them to see if that might be a more appropriate place. I guess maybe it would get more use by placing it on our community resources website. Just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to putting it wherever we feel that it's going to be the most accessible for people. That's obviously the goal, is to make sure that people have access to the information. And if that's the best way for them to have access to it, then yeah, 100% I would be all for it.
Jessica, is it possible for you to follow up and do some investigative work about that? I'm thinking that if it can't be posted on a different page for the city website, that I think we'd like to perhaps still entertain the possibility of putting it on the CODA website. But we might need more information first.
Sure, certainly. I have a lot of permissions on the website, so if I'm pretty sure I can quickly figure out who monitors that portion of the website. I'd rather ask first, of course, to make sure. But yeah, I'm certain it wouldn't take me too long to figure out who manages the community resources page.
Can we just keep this on our agenda for next time, just to keep it so that we remember to have an update? Would that be okay?
Absolutely. I do would like to request, though, to receive a copy of this, since it's not currently attached in the agenda. I didn't receive a copy ahead of time.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and send a copy of it to your email.
And then I'll share it with our public participant, Felicia, and then leave it on the, I'll attach it as a link in the March agenda too, so that way everyone here can access it.
Okay, perfect.
Commissioner Toner.
Yes, and I'm wondering if Jessica receives a copy of this, if it can be forwarded to the commission, via email. And I also have another organization that I think would be very, I'm on a subcommittee with Northern Arizona Interfaith Council, and we've got a criminal justice subcommittee. And of course, the biggest thing that we deal with is mental illness, and we're pretty involved with the alternative response model project that's being done with the city ARPA funding. So I'm just wondering if you would have any problem with me forwarding a copy of this to them also.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially, So I used to work at the Guidance Center. Now I'm at the Coconino County Legal Defender's Office. And I'm finishing my master's in forensic psychology in 2 weeks. So my whole goal with this was to have something to offer these services so that people know, because again, we do have a lot of folks who are in the criminal justice system that do have some level of mental illness, whether it's, substance use, any type of SMI, things like that contribute to behaviors and acts and recidivism. And so having access to these resources, I think, is super important for us as a town, especially with that alternate response model coming in, that we know that we have places for people to go, as opposed to simply, getting arrested, going to jail, that there is FMC, the Guidance Center, Southwest Behavioral Health, places that can continue the work after they have that initial contact with somebody, as they have to have that ongoing treatment and care.
Thank you so much.
And Commissioner Gebler, my plan is to, I can certainly share it with the group, but so individuals don't have to keep finding that email. Would it be okay to link it in the minutes as well as the next agenda? The caveat to that is it is on the public website though, then, so anyone, of course, in the community, which based on our conversation, it seems like it's fine. So I'd like to be able to link it in the agenda and on the minutes. That way there's always that reference online. And again, if someone can't find an email or this attachment, it's available there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, yeah, there's no identifying information about me or anything like that. It's all specifically focused around the agencies and the city of Flagstaff. So yeah, it's absolutely okay to put it online wherever for people to have easier access to it than, digging through an email for it. That's
Yeah.
completely fine with me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Gebler, this is an amazing, impressive piece of work, and I want to just thank you for making this effort and making this possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. I already forwarded it off to Jessica, so hopefully everybody can have a copy of it, and you'll find it useful for lots of different things in the future.
Well, there's no question that it touches all of our diverse populations. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Want to spend the rest of our time getting toward the discussion of municipal equity index and things that kind of lead up to that. The next agenda item has to do with the equitable restroom recommendation that we made to the city council, and the city council received it well. One thing I'm really not yet clear on is how to follow up and ensure that this leads to action. So that's perhaps a conversation for another time. I know that Felicia Fiedler had some public comment about this, and I'm interested in hearing what you have to say, Felicia.
Hi. So you guys were able to get that to council. And so what I had mentioned just briefly was that the library started offering like tampons and pads, menstrual products in our women's bathroom and our non-binary bathroom and like a few in our men's. And so I was just wondering if maybe the Diversity Council could encourage those products being available for either like just in public restrooms in the city, and it just having that also more than just the women's bathroom, but also in those like non-binary bathrooms. And so just giving that suggestion, and I thought it would be good to mention because of what you guys were already working on. So
excellent. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Commissioner Toner.
Yes, thank you for that, Felicia. And I certainly agree. I've got kind of a procedural question because I'm wondering if I think it's not something we can amend what we've already submitted and the council, I believe, has already voted on. But I'm wondering if we can investigate, and I don't know if this is something for me to do or something for Jessica to do or what, whose job that is. I would imagine it's a job that falls within the facilities department, but I'm not really sure. And I'm wondering if that recommendation doesn't need to go through city council, if we can just liaison with the facilities director and just say, can you start adding this? It's a small ask in terms of money. It's a huge ask in terms of, the respect and benefit to persons using the facilities. So I just, maybe Jessica, maybe you can weigh in on this and tell us if we can just, forward something or request a little conversation with the facilities director. How does that work? Thank you.
Well, that's a great question. I honestly have no idea. I'm pretty sure our contract, we have a custodial contract. Our facilities team doesn't clean our restrooms. The custodial staff that we contract out do. So I would definitely need to do some digging to see who we could, recommend or ask to have that changed. I have no idea, but I could follow up.
I think that, Jessica, it would be perhaps a good first step to just find out who we can talk to that knows any of this. This probably would require a couple of levels of activity. One would be the purchase of the vending machines and the products to refill them. And that might or might not be done by the same people that actually clean and maintain the restrooms. I don't know. But someone must know. And if you could help, perhaps, or we can talk outside this meeting, perhaps, about how to figure out who might have information.
Yes, I will add that to my follow-up. And then once I can do a little bit more digging, I'll provide an update.
That's great. Felicia.
On a similar note, while I was thinking about it, with the bathrooms is making sure that men's rooms also have diaper changing stations besides just the women's rooms. But I thought I'd just mention that while thinking about it, and it's on the topic, and I had the floor. But yeah.
That makes
Hi,
sense.
Felicia. This is Commissioner Pino. I 100% agree. I think there are many situations around town where it's been noted that the men's room doesn't have a changing table. So yeah, if we can add that as a commissioner group, that would be a good expansion.
Cool. And then also when you guys were talking about different dispensers, I just wanted to mention what we went through. We went through Ant Flow. I don't know if that would necessarily work for the city and how they go through the process of deciding where to purchase, but I thought I'd at least put that out there, that that was a place that we went through.
So you have, if we need further information about that, once we figure out the right person to talk to, perhaps you wouldn't mind us getting in touch with you about that.
That shouldn't be a problem there. Yeah, we can tell how we went and talked to them and whatnot.
Great, thank you.
I'll also mention, maybe I'll go back and review the council meeting where the equitable restroom discussion was first brought up, because I do recall some discussion around who would be responsible for this. So I might go back and look at that council meeting, and then I don't know the dollar threshold anymore about, funding, that conversation, if it has to go back to council because it requires funding. I think the initial recommendation was to update ordinance verbiage, and they were going to be looking at the ordinance verbiage, but there's kind of multiple pieces to this at this point. So I'll get some information together for another discussion on this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this would be a step beyond what was presented to City Council and would be a different ask, I think. But that doesn't mean that we can't decide to do that at some point. So if we get the information, we can have more discussion about that. And I think we might find that it kind of leads into our next topic about the Municipal Equity Index. And Chris is here to perhaps help us with this one. I was reviewing the presentation from our November meeting. There's, boy, a ton of information there, and I'm trying to think of how to begin and where to begin with what action we might take based on that report and where we go from here. So anyone have any thoughts on this? Chris, would you like to jump in and speak to where you think we should start our discussion?
Certainly. Thank you very much for having me here again today. Yeah, I'm happy to speak to this a little bit. So the direction that I got from council on this was that they liked that we discussed this back in November, and they want to see more of this in the future, but they want to see with other commissions as well, and they want to see engagement of the community. Are the things they want to see. So, I presented the report with some of the items that may be low-hanging fruit that we can attempt to improve our score with, and I'll work with those with the international with the commission, the human rights campaign. I'm sorry, and over the summer when they reach out to, I'm the contact person to reach out to. So that there's a few things that have already been documented that I'm going to send them that I think will give us a few points, and I'll work with them to see if anything else the city has done over the last several years can be used to help our points. But really, I think that city council saw it as just one metric, and not one that we should be trying to get points on, one that can be used to inform our decision making and to make sure that we're doing a good enough job reaching out to the community. So what they really wanted to see was this commission, as well as other commissions and other city groups, reaching out to community groups and the community at large to see what the people of Flagstaff experience and what they think needs to be improved as far as LGBTQ plus equality.
Well, one thing that I remember from the presentation was that there was a lack of transgender inclusive healthcare benefits on the part of the city. And that seems like something that the city doesn't really be needing to check with the community about. I think that the city could just work toward fixing that. Some years ago, the university was in the same situation. The Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage offered by NAU did not include, in fact, it not only did not include, it specifically excluded transgender healthcare. And the LGBTQIA Commission worked toward changing that, and eventually that did change. And now there are benefits for those folks. And I think that that's something that that we could certainly make a recommendation about if we chose to do so. The other thing that I was looking at was this housing non-discrimination law. And I realized that it's got a lot of points attached to it. And I'm not really a person that's intent on racking up points. That's not really where I go in my mind. But just in terms of something that the city could fix, as I understand it, this has to do with verbiage of the city covers public accommodations, but not housing with regard to non-discrimination. I may not be saying this correctly. And if it were to address housing, that would be a different level of protection for the LGBTQ population. And that just doesn't seem like asking too much. So some of these things seem like almost a formality or just a very reasonable request from my point of view. I don't know if some of the rest of you have had a chance to look through here, look through the presentation and think about where we might like to begin. I thought that based on Chris's presentation that there were just a lot of things that we could do. And I don't know if we can do everything at once. And so I'm thinking that we might want to choose 1 or 2 or 3 projects and then perhaps make a plan for how to proceed with them. Anyone else have thoughts? Commissioner Hardy.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say thanks to Chris, and also thank you to the other group, the working group for the Equitable Restroom, because I do think that that those 2 presentations really connected well together. And I just want to thank you all for your for like the time and work that you put towards this, these presentations and this issue. I have to say that I felt really frustrated and but I felt really, I'm not quite sure how to say this. Some of the comments that certain city council members made during that presentation, or in response to some of the things that were made during that presentation, were I found like offensive. And I personally, I submitted public comment, which I don't think was like shared during that meeting. But about my own experiences as someone who, when I was in school attending, getting my master's in public administration degree and was attending professional conferences, some of the gender-based harassment I experienced, not specifically at the city of Flagstaff, but at conferences such as like the ACMA conference, that it took place in restrooms. That was embarrassing, and part of the reason why I don't work in local government today. And because I don't think that I could have given that, I don't think that I could have worked in a city manager's office and given the presentation that someone like Chris gave, and then have people in city council tell me, like, have to just truly to listen to some of the things that city council said in response to some of the recommendations were, I found it really insulting, and also like it lacked a lot of integrity. I thought that certain city council people, in response to some of those recommendations, which, yes, I agree, are not asking that much. Even the things that are not preempted, like, and I know that there are issues around like our size of population, around housing discrimination laws and all that, but the other things which are not preempted, I don't think, I personally would not feel comfortable asking another, group in the community to be vulnerable and share and like get their input, and then put them in a position to share that with city council, because I don't think that city council really was, some of the things that some people said in that meeting, I felt like were really offensive. And like that, like, for example, one of the city council person made a comment, something about how like we want to be, how we don't want to treat certain groups of people like different than other groups of people, as if like people wanting to be able to use a restroom without harassment, or be able to find safe and equitable housing without fear of discrimination, was asking like first like preferential or special treatment. And then also to have another city council member express that like that it's law enforcement that is keeping the LGBTQ community safe, and this was really deeply offensive, especially given my own experiences as a queer person who has interacted with the police department here, after experiencing violence. And I'm sorry, like, I'm going to get emotional, but like, I personally, like, I just would not feel comfortable asking anyone else to share with city council after like the experience, like after listening to that. Like, so I don't think that city council like really is interested in what anyone has to say. I think that certain people on city council just want to like pat themselves on the back and make themselves feel better and make themselves feel like they're doing something, but are not interested in actually like listening and respecting the lived experiences of queer people in this community, or people who are a part of the LGBTQ community. And it is, I think, like, to take a step back and to ask, like, I think maybe it would be just before we approach other groups in the community, I would just say that like, I would just really ask all of us to really think about what it is that we're asking of these groups of people. Like, I shouldn't have to sit in front of city council and say that the reason why I no longer work at the city of Flagstaff and the reason why I no longer work at local governments is because when I attended a conference, I was harassed in the restroom. Like, we're asking people to share like deeply, deeply vulnerable lived experiences. And not only did certain city council people respond to that in a way that was so callous, and also then other city council people like didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. They didn't correct or engage with their, their peers, the other elected officials on city council with them to say that like, hey, like, if you can't listen to someone who, is an analyst, in the city who can like give this presentation, and if they're going to be like, I don't know, like picking kind of apart that stuff, like why would we ask anyone to share to meet with city council? I can say that like, I'm not going to ask I would not ask any of my queer friends to like, or anyone I know who's in like a queer or like, someone who could speak about their experiences, or, is maybe at like the NAU or something, who is part of like an LGBTQ plus group, to speak to city council. And if I did, I would be very, very honest with them about the kind of stuff that they might hear back. And that's kind of, I don't really have anything else to say besides that, except that like, I had a really hard time listening to, not to the presentations, but to some of the things that city council said in response to those presentations. And I'm grateful that we have people in our community who are, who are advancing these issues and bringing this to city council's attention. I think that if city council really wants to engage with the community, they need to be prepared to hear things that make them feel uncomfortable. And I think that they need to be prepared to take accountability for the fact that like, they also have a role in helping people feel safe and like respected to share their experiences and to give their input. And like the things that they said and didn't say at that meeting, on that meeting on the 11th, are reasons why like are the reasons why people don't feel like they can be out. And it's the reason why I don't feel like there's a place for someone like me, who identifies as non-binary and gender fluid, to be able to work in government. And it's not my job to educate like city council on how to respect people. And I choose to participate in a group like CODA because it feels like a way where I can do that with support. But I really think that it would be unwise to ask these groups without like a serious conversation about what it is that like they might be getting into, because it could be really hurtful. Like we might be asking members of our community to meet with city council, and like, these other, and the other groups that they were asking to meet with, like it could really be hurtful to some people, especially younger people who like part of that presentation was like a conversation about like banning conversion therapy in our city for youth under the age of 18. Like there are serious risks, and people in the LGBTQ community do experience higher risks of mental health, crises. They experience higher incidences of like death by suicides, and they typically have less like socioeconomic capital and stuff. So it's like it's really asking a lot to ask this group of people to maybe like put themselves out there in a way and be vulnerable in a way that like could really, really be hurtful to them. And I guess that's just all I want to leave it at there, is just that like if we approach any other groups, that like I think it's really important to be mindful that like if we're going to do that, then we really need to support those people in sharing their stories and in meeting with them in a way that helps them feel safe and supported to share. Because I personally, like, some of the things that city council said were really, really hurtful. And I wouldn't ask anyone that I care about, to like go through that without really informing them what it is that they might be getting themselves into. And that's all I have to say about that. But
I appreciate your sharing your point of view about that. I'm very grateful. And I felt that way too when I was listening to them. And also I was feeling like I don't know that we need to go and survey everybody about what needs to be done. A great deal of what needs to be done we just know we need to do because it's good practice everywhere. I don't know that we need to be asking everyone. It's something certainly to, but if we did, all of what you've said is really true. Chris?
Thank you, and thank you for sharing as well, Claire. And I, thank you for feeling comfortable sharing that with all of us here. I wanted to a few things before I think Claire started talking. I wanted to just note real quickly. One was on the healthcare benefits for the city. That is something that we are actively working with. Shannon Anderson, the deputy city manager. I haven't heard an update in a few months from her on this, but I can certainly just follow up with her to see where that's at. She was she's involved with our contract negotiations with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and that's something that is on her radar, and she was going to be involved with just because that's her role otherwise. So I can follow up to see where that one, what we're on with that one. And I wanted to suggest as well that the direction that City Council gave to go try to get input from the community was pretty vague. And there's a lot of tools we have at our disposal of different ways that we can try to solicit comments or take things from the community, and we can use different mediums. We could do a citizen survey. We can do things in person. We can do things a variety of ways so that there are different options that maybe people feel more comfortable in sharing. And I certainly, while council's direction is, they're kind of the, we respond to what they say. There's ways that we can take their direction and do things in a productive way, and that's certainly my intention. I also wanted to mention just finally that I wouldn't be able to start doing anything probably until May or so, just given that we're in the budget season right now, and I'm pretty much preoccupied with that in the meantime. So anything that we did that I was involved with, I mean, you're welcome to do anything on your own, but anything that I do in response to that would not be until probably late spring or early summer.
That's good to know. Thank you. Who was next? Jessica, did you have a comment?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Commissioner Hardy, for sharing that, your thoughts and feelings. I did want to, I apologize, my dog is probably about to make a really loud noise. So one thing, and maybe Chris, you can provide clarity on this. You kind of alluded to it in your statement, but given that the Commission on Diversity Awareness is an advisory board, I am not quite sure it would be appropriate for this commission to be responsible for collecting the follow-up that was requested of council. Chris, I think that whatever council directed is a direction for you and your team. However, this commission has the opportunity to provide advice, advisory again, advice or recommendations on that work. But this commission is an advisory board to the council. And so it would be appropriate then possibly for the group to provide a recommendation on that work in the future when it does come up. I know you probably have a very large workload, and as you said, we're in budget season right now, but am I kind of correct in that statement and understanding, or do you think I should maybe get some additional information or clarity on who would be responsible for collecting that additional information and community feedback?
Yeah, thanks. So I think you can certainly view that as direction to me, as I'm the one that gave that presentation. It did come to you all first, so I think that I think the ball's kind of in your court as to whether or not you think you should be involved with it. I'm happy to kind of do things on my own, and there's other individuals I can consult to make sure I'm doing things appropriately. I don't really have a staff. The civil rights desk, and it's pretty much me. So I'd probably work with the public affairs director, Sarah Langley, and maybe some other individuals that are not related to council at all, to see, just to make sure that I'm very cautious about the way I go forward with it. But if you all want to be involved, I would certainly be happy to coordinate with you. And if you decide that it's something you shouldn't be involved with, I can go forward and I think they mentioned some other commissions. I haven't really done a lot of follow-up on that yet, but I can seek to see if any of those commissions want to be involved, and certainly I would pass along anything I discover, any input I get from the community to you all, just for your knowledge. And if you decide to act on it any way you like, that's up to you. And I think Claire mentioned some certain items that maybe there was will to move on with recommendation with or without public comment. And you're always welcome to do that as well. So, you know, I'm not necessarily bound by all of you unless you give me direction in a certain way, but I'm happy to coordinate with you just because I feel I want to be appropriate. And, you know, I think you all are in a good position to be advisory to council and to staff in that regard. So it's kind of up to you how active you want to be with the responses from council, I think.
Thank you. There are two people with hands raised, and it's approaching 3 o'clock. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I'll have these two people make their comments, and then we probably need to decide if we're willing to continue the meeting or if we need to adjourn. Jean, I think you were next.
Two very quick comments. For one thing, a lot of this, the request from council was kind of interesting to me too, following up on what Claire said, because we provided them with some of this information in our survey. Some of this information came up in our survey, the lack of safety that LGBTQ people feel, and the need for, you know, conscious safety leadership. And that's the other thing that I will say is I felt that the council was not seeking information so much as passing off responsibility for leadership. You know, the responsibility for leadership is theirs. And I felt it was almost like a window washing or a window dressing or something like that to say, oh, we'll pass it off to these commissions and go out into the community. You go out into the community. And that's frankly the responsibility of the council, in my view. I felt like there was a passing off of leadership. That is not to say I'm not willing to participate in any kind of research or data collection or something like that, but I think that we need to remember the issue of leadership. Thank you.
Thanks, Jean. Commissioner Pino?
Hi, yeah, I just have a quick comment. Thanks, Commissioner Wagner, for keeping us on track, but maybe this is a question for you, Jessica. If, you know, taking into account Claire, and thank you for being so vulnerable and honest here, but Claire's, you know, perspective, and I think some of the broader perspective of the way that that meeting was handled, and given our position as an advisory board to the council and our mission to protect and encourage the diversity and inclusion for our city, would it be appropriate for us to provide some sort of letter or statement that expresses our concern with how these issues are discussed at a community level, and the fact that it can prohibit participation from the community in discourse around these types of topics?
Great idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's a really great idea. I would be totally in favor of that. And I think part of that too is some comments I have heard, you know, through just made by some city council people, is that it's like, oh, like we don't know how to talk about it, or like there's no one here that this issue impacts, or like I don't know how to talk about it. I don't know the right words to use. And it's like, I mean, literally just like do a Google search, and maybe just do like a little, again, like I totally agree with the other comments of like the responsibility of leadership is on them, and they can go, like those resources are out there. And I would really, if we were to draft a letter like that, because I think it's an important topic, but I think it is it's council's job and our job too to help people feel safe to participate in local government. That's and to feel safe to participate in the democratic process, like, and to feel engaged and safe and welcomed in their community. And I really think that part of that is like, if our elected officials can take the time to just like, and give them just to do a little bit of research and learn a little bit and be open and curious and ask questions before meeting with people, or before, like, you know, if the city of Flagstaff like sent out a survey or something, like, I trust that our public administrators at the city are ethical and skillful and have, I think, have shown that time and time again. However, like, ultimately the decision making will be made by city council. And so I do think it's so important that they just like do the bare minimum of research about, like, I don't know, like, go online and watch like a YouTube video or something, you know, like, go read about, you know, why things like conversion therapy, like how that's damaging. There are groups out there like the Trevor Project that have all kinds of resources and statistics and stuff. Like, I think it's on them. If people are going to take the time to engage, it's on them to also be prepared. And that if a letter was ever drafted, that's something that I would really like to include in that, is like, because also too, you know, like, one person like myself, like, that's just my personal experience, but I don't speak for the experience of every single person, and, you know, who's a part of the LGBTQ community. Like, I have my experience, and it's important, I think, that if that city council just, you know, part of diversity is that even there is no one, you know, queer story. There is no one, like everyone's lived experience is different. And I would really appreciate it if city council like could learn those words and learn a little bit about that history instead of like putting that work on other people, especially because, like, I mean, kind of some of those things there were like it's, I mean, truly, it's like, what am I supposed, like, you're really asking people to talk about like, I don't know how to put it. It's just, it's so embarrassing and degrading to have to be like, I would like a place to go to the bathroom. And I don't think that that makes me any more important than anyone else. It's like literally a matter of like human dignity, a place to go to the bathroom and feel like I can be treated as much as a professional and have the same access to healthcare and have the same basic human rights and dignity as any other person. And so I would, I just, that's something that would be really important to me if such a letter were drafted, is just to say, like, about any issue, you know, like this is the issue that is part of like my lived experience, but there are other like lived experiences here as well, and, you know, that are outside of like gender identity or sexual orientation, like other communities that we come in contact with, like, just literally just do like a little bit of research before asking people to share and be vulnerable. Because I already have my degree, you know, I have my degree, I have my experience, I'm good, but not everyone is in the privileged position that I am in. So, and it's a big thing, you know, to ask people to be vulnerable in that way. So, however you can collect that data, that is any way the city of Flagstaff could collect that data, which preserves people's agency and dignity and safety through that process. Maybe that looks like an anonymous thing, and making sure that there's no, you know, I know like surveys and stuff can be collected anonymously. So maybe something like that would be like a more safe way to share that, to share a survey or collect that data or something, if that's something that council is insistent on doing. But because it's not enough to just say that something's important. I don't know, like that was really hurtful too, that you have to justify that why it's important when it's like, it's like that, well, there's a word for it that's maybe not like very appropriate for this meeting, but like, it's like we shouldn't have to suffer, you know, like that's part of the queer experience, is like, we should be able to like achieve in the workplace. Not everything has to be like about our suffering and oppression. Like, queer people deserve joy. Queer people deserve professional success. Like, and anyways, like it hurts that it's like, that has felt like more of my story here has been like more hurt than like, you know, the like celebrating the joy of like the queer experience, because I have to justify why this stuff even matters to me, to people who it doesn't impact. Anyways, sorry, it's kind of a ramble, but I really appreciate you all. I really appreciate all of your allyship and your patience and your willingness to listen and to support everyone in this commission and the public, and also like our public administrators. I really, really appreciate all of you. And yeah, that's all for me. Sorry.
No, I really am so grateful for your willingness to be so candid with us as a group. And I'm sitting here thinking about what you're saying and about how I just don't think that we need to be taking a ton of surveys to find out that people need to be able to use the restroom and have dignity and have privacy. And I don't know how many people you need to survey to figure that out. But anyway, Jessica has a comment. I've been ignoring that. I'm sorry.
No worries. Chris, I did want to, I know Chair Wegwert just said, maybe surveys aren't the best, but the commission did do a lot of work on the diversity survey. And so whether or not that data is still relevant or, you know, possibly a resource for your office to use, for, you know, a means of collecting the feedback, I am confident that was an anonymous survey. And there was a lot of information provided there. So that certainly is, I think, an option. You know, maybe it's not, another survey is not supported by the commission, and that's fine. But I did want to make you aware of that, since I believe you came on board just after that survey had been presented to council.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not aware of that, so I'd be happy to take a look at it. And yeah, I you know, just want to harp that I will have to do something because council gave me direction to do something. So whether or not that's with, you know, in coordination with this commission or not, is yet to be seen. But I will be doing something. I just don't know what that will be yet. I'll get into that probably late April or early May. So if you have thoughts in the meantime, or if the commission wants to wait to see what that looks like before making recommendations on the items, you're welcome to. But that's my timeline. So nothing is imminent right now. A few meetings away still, at the very least.
Commissioner Toner was the key player in the survey that was done by this commission. Jean, I'm thinking that if Chris needs help or explanation or support with that you, and certainly I as well, would be willing to go over what the findings were and bring him up to speed on. It's a little dated now, but I think a lot of it still is relevant.
Unfortunately, it may be dated in time. It's not dated in impact, you know, because
that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, the same issues that Claire was talking about, and the same issues that we have been addressing through this Equitable Restroom, you know, initiative. They're pretty timeless, unfortunately, and they are still relevant, even though the data was collected back in 2018.
Well, you know,
Chris, I am more than happy to sit down with you and talk with you. I would be thrilled to do that.
Thank you, Jean. I'm thinking that when we presented that survey, that what we got was, okay, this is a great survey. What, you know, now we want you to make some recommendations about it. And in kind of in reverse now, we've got this equitable what I want to say, the municipal equity index, and we're sort of in reverse being asked, well, we need to survey people, and I just kind of have this feeling of being kept in this cycle of surveying and then being sent back to do a survey, being sent back to make recommendations. Well, now give us a survey to support the recommendations, and at some point you just have to say, well, this just needs to be done. anyway, I don't think that we're going to get as far today as deciding our next steps or what pieces of this we want to work on. I realize we're already 10 minutes over time, and I don't want to keep people too much longer. I can stay, but if you need to go, I understand. Jean, did you have a comment?
I would like to put this, at the top of the agenda for next month. We don't have any proclamations. We don't have a lot of other pressing business. And, I think this warrants being number one, and we can do some more discussion on it where we're not, kind of running out of time next month.
That's an excellent idea. Those of you who are not part of the commission but have interest are certainly welcome to come back and join us as we continue this conversation. Just want to say that I really appreciate your being here and your participation and your interest in what this commission is doing. Is there anything else? I think the rest of our agenda is just going to have to be deferred till next time so that the rest of us can get on with everything. Jessica?
Yeah, thank you. My only comment, I have just a few quick comments. So the next item was just the BPAC Commission meeting information that was discussed at the last meeting. I did send out the I did send out the meeting link just for yesterday's meeting. I'd prefer to not have my calendar full of other commissions meetings personally. So I did want to note that the staff liaison contact information, if you're able to still view the screen, can be found on the BPAC website, just here on the right-hand side. That would be the most appropriate person to contact for attending future BPAC meetings if you're interested. And of course, if you're going to represent the commission, opinions and or thoughts, just as a reminder to discuss that with this group. And then on topic number 11, we do have a long list of future items. We also have 4 pending items I received in the week that I was gone of presentations to this commission. So I might ask for clarity on when to schedule some of these additional items. While I know everything is very important and a current priority, I'm just not sure then what to prioritize for these agendas.
Well, I think that Commissioner Toner and I are the leadership work group, and we can work with you to maybe make a plan. Would that be all right with you?
That would be great. We have 4 in addition to the ones listed on our current agenda. So yeah, we have a lot going on, which is great, but I want to, of course.
It is really exciting. I mean, we used to not be able to get a quorum, and now we've got a quorum and we've got things to do, and we've got a lot of things, a lot of possibility, and it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we need to talk about before we adjourn today? Okay. Well, I think that just as a final comment, I just want to tell all of you commissioners what an honor it is to be a part of this group and work with all of you, and how much I appreciate your being here and your work with the commission. Thank you very much for that. And with that, it's 3:14 p.m. and I adjourn the meeting of the Commission on Diversity Awareness for the City of Flagstaff.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.